Escape from Pretoria. Pretoria? I'm going to call it Pretoria. I apologise. Please DM me or at me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I love to be corrected. It's like a part-time hobby. Even more than watching films, probably. Already I'm getting off topic. Let me refocus. Escape from Pretoria. Escape from Pretoria is a thriller prison escape movie. It's based on the true life story of two political activists who were sentenced to 8 and 12 years respectively for distributing anti-racist propaganda in the 1960s. Now, while this might be a true story, that doesn't make it compelling. Unfortunately, this film is not The Shawshank Redemption, which, while a work of fiction, is incredible. That's not to detract away from Escape from Pretoria. However, be aware it can be slightly dull via comparisons to other movies. Escape Plan, this is not. There is no Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone coming into this film to destroy you. No. This is a film with subtle moments of silent rage and small successes. It is a film that focuses on one point completely, which is that Tim Jenkins, played by Daniel Radcliffe, and Stephen Lee, played by Daniel Webber, must escape. They must escape. They will not rest. And around them are characters who may or may not want them to escape too. And honestly, while I did not care particularly for the film, it would be a lie if I didn't tell you that it was thrilling and compelling. There were moments in the film where I could not take my eyes away from the screen through sheer terror of what may happen. And that's when I realised the film had got me. I had subconsciously started to care and be engrossed in this movie even when I didn't particularly want to be. Even when I didn't think it was that engaging, it was. And that's the mark of a great film, is one that can draw and hook you in. One that you go, I don't know if I care for this. And then by the end you are cheering or screaming or having a visceral reaction to the conclusion. There are moments in this film that aren't completely explained. That's okay. You can't fit an entire 400-day story plot into an hour and 47 minutes. So there are cherry-picked highlights. Again, no problem. And once we start seeing the plan come together, we want them to succeed. We want Tim and Stephen to escape. We're on their side. We want these people who are fighting for racism to escape. And it's in those little moments where they start talking about political prisoners and the form of racism, how it is getting away with it in this country of South Africa, that makes the film have its meat on its bones. Because the film isn't really about an escape. It's about how these political prisoners are treated inside and the attitude of racism in South Africa in the 60s. That is what makes the film strong. Sure, there's the escape elements. There has to be. But it's in the conversations between Dennis Goldberg and Tim that makes the film stronger. When they're discussing what it was like to stand with Nelson Mandela when he was condemned. That's where the film is strongest. When we explore the topic of racism through these prison walls, that's where the film should live. And then the escape is sort of a framework for this deeper storyline. It's the thrilling part of this thriller, but yet it is not the most important part of the movie. The most important part of the movie is its message. Not to never give up hope, unlike The Shawshank Redemption, but to never give up your cause, to never give up that fight that you have, that you want to succeed. And by the closing credits, we know what's going to happen to everybody involved, and some are successful and some are not, but we still feel that rush of joy knowing that these people will never give up, they'll never surrender, they'll never roll over, because they fight for something bigger than you or me can understand. They fight for the rights of people less fortunate. That is why Escape from Pretoria is such an important and unmistakable film, because it tackles a big topic. It is shocking to think that this is only the 1960s. This is 50 years ago when this was happening. This was in some of our lifetimes that this was happening. This man was alive and in prison for what he believed in South Africa in our lifetime. That's something insane, because we believe that racism is something so far away from us. But as we've been shown through Black Lives Matter, it's something still so relevant today. And while I don't think this is the strongest movie ever to speak about racism, I do think it's an important one, because South Africa is a place that we as a society have not explored properly. And that we've got someone in the head of the acting chops of Daniel Radcliffe, who I will say accent is slightly questionable, but for the most part consistent, is what will push the film forwards. A big star like that can make a lot of difference to a movie that has a conceptual idea like this. In the closing 10 minutes of the movie, you are compelled. And sure, there's a lot of conveniences. Yes, not all of it adds up, but you don't really care, because it doesn't all have to be tied up in a neat little bow. It can just be a great film that stands for something. And that is what Escape from Pretoria is. A film that stands for something. everything. The Great Escape, it's not. The Shawshank Redemption, it isn't. But not every film has to be. Sometimes you can have a film that has an idea and a heart and then a framework around it. And that is what Escape from Pretoria, I'm calling it that now, Escape from Pretoria, is. Almost no violence and all brains.